Welcome back. You're still watching VOP this morning. And now, on a very sad note, Adebola Akin-Bright, the 12-year-old boy whose intestines got missing in the process of his surgery, has passed on. Now, according to a source close to the family, Adebola died at Lassuth on Tuesday night after spending over 1 month in the hospital. He was said to have developed complications and was rushed to the intensive care unit of the hospital, where he was thereafter pronounced dead. Now, the Lagos State House of Assembly had earlier on Tuesday called on Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to direct the Ministry of Health to release funds for the overseas treatment of the boy. Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, while presiding over the day's plenary, moved that the boy needed urgent treatment abroad. Obasa and the House also called for the immediate arrest of the doctor of the private hospital, Obitox Medical Center, in the Alimosho area of the state, where the initial surgery that led to the missing small intestine was performed. Now, that is really a sad story, and joining us to make sense of all of this is Dr. Olawale Olatubi, who is a medical doctor. Welcome, Mr. Dr. Olawale, I beg your pardon. Okay, so what do you make of this? I mean, how does...
Before we proceed, let's also welcome Victor Atewe, who has joined us virtually.
Okay.
Good morning to you, Victor.
Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, and thanks for
Great
having
to have
me.
you join us.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
All right. As I was saying, doctor, what do you make of this? How does a small intestine just mysteriously go missing?
Okay, the thing is that the boy had a ruptured appendix. And before your appendix might be ruptured, you might be having some symptoms of pain, appendicitis. I've given them injections or antibiotics just to relieve the pain. But it got to a stage where the appendix is actually ruptured. Now, where is the appendix? The appendix is just below the intestine. It's just down below the intestine. So when the appendix is ruptured, the best procedure to do is just to go there and remove it, because the function of the appendix is not really well known. People say it's just there, but we don't know what the function of the appendix is. So the best treatment for it is just go there and remove it. Now, the problem was that after the appendixectomy, that's the removal of the appendix, 3 weeks after, the boy had complications. And what was the complication? Complication was obstructed an intestine. That the intestine was obstructed. Now, they said the mother said she returned the boy back to the hospital and the surgery was done. Now, this is where the problem is. The surgery, probably when they were doing the surgery, they discovered that some part of the intestine was already dead. Because when there's an obstruction of the intestine, blood flow and everything might not even get to some part of the intestine. The doctor might want to say, okay, let me just cut some part or cut some part and put them together. But if the doctor is not experienced to do that, you might just lose the whole intestine. So that is where the problem is. So I've seen comments on social media saying that it's a case of an organ transplant. No, this is really not a case of organ transplant. It's a case of medical negligence. Negligence, that saying that the doctor shouldn't, because the small intestine cannot be transplanted in Nigeria, even in Africa. It's a very delicate procedure, and so it's just incompetency of the doctor who did the surgery. And the doctor should have checked out and said, okay, this is what is wrong and this is what is wrong.
All right, then let's Victor, what's your take on this? Do you buy this? Do you buy the explanation that Dr. Olawale has just given, that it's as a result of medical negligence and not organ harvesting?
Yeah, of course, we live in a world where a lot of people give a lot of speculation as regards our medical system, and we know how it works. But the truth is, it's just a medical complication, and we see that happen. It's not the first case, but this goes to show, the lacuna in our medical sector. And not just this, because this happened just to make it to the media. There are a lot of complications that have been happening around the nation, and trust me, this is just a minor. To me, I'll call it a minor, because I remember one time, that was last year, I heard about a case of even a notable comedian that took the mother to one of the teaching hospital in Lagos, and it was told that there was no blood, that they had to go and run from one place just looking for blood to to give to the mother. But at the at the verge of doing that, the mother ended up losing her life. So this happens every day. But from what I gather, I think it's just a complication, but it's very sad that we are having that in these our modern days, given to the experience. And trust me, our doctors are doing extremely well outside, but back home, it's just like a death trap. And when you take your loved ones to our general hospital, it's a sad thing. What comes out of it is a very sad thing. Trust me. In today's Nigeria.
Okay, very well. Thank you very much, Nick. Back to you, Dr. Olawale. We all know that brain drain is one of the major issues Nigeria is currently, going through when it comes to doctors. Do you think this is putting some doctors who are not, qualified for some positions, putting them there, since there is nobody else to do it, you have to take up the position to perform some major surgeries that would otherwise have been handled by more professional doctors, but because of the brain drain, what do you think about this? Do you think that is what's going on?
No, brain drain is not what is affected. The first surgery was done in a private clinic. Now the mistake people is that when they hear you as a doctor, they feel you can do everything. As a doctor, you cannot do all the surgeries. You can do some of the surgery. You might be specialized in a field. What field you are? The doctor in the private hospital might just be specialized in another. Maybe he's even a surgeon. But the fact that when they remember that, oh, you are a doctor, there's a doctor in one hospital, they just go there, they carry all their problems there. But in a government hospital, a specialist would undo every case. Now, for a surgeon, for an appendix surgery, a general surgeon would do that. If it is a broken bone, an orthopedic surgeon would do that. But the problem we are having in this country is that I would say people don't really understand the fact that not all doctors can do everything. They just go to as far as they see in the hospital, there's an hospital there, they do surgery there. What kind of surgery do they do there? Is he giving birth or is he? So the problem is not brain drain. Fine, there is a brain drain in the country, but for this case, we need to tackle the rate of which we have a lot of quack doctors, because we have a lot of quack, and quackery is actually in every field. We have quack lawyers, quack doctors, everybody wants to just form and pretend as if what they are not. So the government should work on how to take out this quackery out of this medical practitioner, because it's happening again. It happened again in Jos, a case of an organ transplant happened again in Jos during the week, and this one, a kidney, yeah, and this one was this person is not a doctor. He said he's an economist.
No, it's laughable. It's laughable, really.
It's laughable whereby quacks and pretend as if they are doctors, and I wouldn't blame them. They come out and tell you, they'll give you a cheaper price, and you will go because people don't have money.
Okay, so now let me ask Victor. Now, Victor, let's just believe, let's just accept the explanation that it was an error in an error of the surgeon that performed an operation on the young man. But the fact that the family was not informed, and it took the boy developing complications later for them to be rushed back to the hospital, where it was discovered that his small intestine was gone. What do you make of that? And shouldn't that doctor be arrested?
First off, the doctor need to be arrested and being brought for questioning. Trust me. There are a lot of issues arising from, there are a lot of speculations. It's okay to say that it's organ harvesting because, of course, the parents are not carried along. And for me, why I really, it's not really surprising to me, because I've seen cases. Trust me, I've seen cases, especially in our general hospitals, in our government-owned hospitals. There are a lot of there are a lot of barbaric cases you would hear, and you keep wondering, are we living in the 2023? These are happening. The attitude of the nurses, the doctors towards patients. Well, you wouldn't blame them. Some would tell you that they've not been paid. They're not well paid. They overwork, and some would say, okay, even the money they paid is not compared to the kind of work they do. So there's a lot of frustration happening in that sector. And having said that, I think that given to the explanation by the doctors, I think there are a lot of investigation need to be. I mean, police need to do their due diligence, and of course, the doctor need to be brought in for questioning as to why not, inform the parents before carrying out such a critical surgery, and not just that, but what went wrong. We live in the world where life means nothing to us. The life of a Nigerian is worth nothing. So if it dies, well, they'll tell you it's gone. But in a developing country, or even in any other country that value human life, would always, you see, for the step by step to the procedure to make sure that the boy, even if the boy ends up, giving up, but I mean, you see that they did their best. Like, I'm sorry, I lost the audio of what the doctor is saying in the studio.
Okay.
But
Okay.
of course, we know that nobody expect doctors. Doctors are not miracle workers. Of course, they're practitioners. I mean, based on what they know, and they put it into play. But our doctors need to do more. And the amazing part is, you find out the same doctor that is complaining here, when he travels abroad, you find the doctor is working wonders. But yeah, we'll give it to the system.
Okay.
So the system is being blamed now. Okay, well, we understand that the system hasn't made it easy for doctors to do their practice the way it should be done. Now, but from the look of things, the young man was being taken care of for some weeks, and then on Tuesday, when the Lagos State House of Assembly, proposed that the governor make some funds available so he be taken abroad, he died the same day, unfortunately so. Now, you just stated here that if you were to be organ, yes, that cannot be done in Nigeria. So if it were to be fixed, if it were to be corrected, it cannot also be done in Nigeria. So basically, the young man they were just waiting for him to die.
It's sad news because this news has been on the media for the past 2 weeks, and the mother came out and started crying and calling on Governor Sanwo-Olu to come. Governor Sanwo-Olu went there like 2 weeks ago. I see no reason why they shouldn't have at least taken the boy out of the country immediately, or 2 days after. They had to wait for another 2 weeks. When they now said, okay, I'm very sure they knew that this guy was going to die. So because of the media, I just say, okay, let us try and travel him abroad. Because, see, let me tell you something. The guy even tried staying for 2 weeks without having an intestine.
Exactly.
He was not taking any. He cannot eat. There's a food, an injection they give to him. The mother was saying like 69,000 naira for one. It takes two. If you see the boy was already lean, demarcating. So I think they knew that the problem about this thing is that they should take the boy out of the country. They should have waited for two. If it is one of the sons of the governor or one of the children of the politician, they would have gone there immediately.
Well, you are saying now that probably they knew he was going to die that day, and what they said was probably a media stunt.
They tried their best, and they just push one time. They just have to be processing for medical tourism shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 days. Advise the government to government, medical tourism not take more than 3 days. But I feel sorry for the boy, but the thing is that we need to do more as a government. The government is not really doing well for the medical space. The healthcare system needs to be revamped, needs to be overhauled, and let's try and do some check and balancing. Now, the medical curriculum too needs to be checked too. The curriculum for like years are still practicing now in our medical schools. They need to go to the medical schools and try to change the curriculum, and there are a lot of things going on now. So these complications.
A lot of things going wrong. Tell us about those things going wrong.
Now, one thing about things going on now, because a lot of complications coming now, and people think that we need to learn more so that we can do some of these surgeries here in Nigeria. Now, for this intestine rupture that we want to do a transplant, there's nothing bad if we have trained experts that can do it in this country, Nigeria. But we cannot do it. We cannot, because it's not that we cannot. We have surgeons that can do it, but there is no medical facility that will make the surgeon do it. I'm very sure that if this surgeon or the doctor goes out of the country, see the very good equipment, he will be able to perform the surgery.
Is it a different kind of?
No,
I thought it's just arrangements. You arrange the intestine the way, like.
there's going to be a lot of monitoring.
Oxygen must be there, a lot of close monitoring, and the intestine is like very long, and it requires serious monitoring. So
Intestine.
Intestine-
Small and big.
The small intestine is as long as, let me say, 20 inches.
Okay.
It's like this.
Yes.
It's very interwoven.
There's
Okay.
also the large intestine. What's the
20 inches. Is that if you're gonna elongate it? Is that the height of a 6 foot tall man?
If we elongate this table now,
This entire table. Okay. Okay.
So if
That's-
the
that's
small
quite-
intestine
that's
is that
quite
long,
long.
then how's the large intestine?
So
Just on the lighter note, yeah.
The small intestine and large intestine is not because of the size. It's not because of the length. It's because of the size.
Okay.
So the small intestine and the large intestine is just beside each other.
Yes.
So any surgery, anything inside that thing. I've had a patient, my uncle, had an appendix surgery. Let me just give you a case study. Appendix surgery, 1994. During that period, there was an obstruction. He didn't know. It took him 20 years.
There was an obstruction in the intestine.
Okay.
It took him 20 years for him to start having pain, serious pain. They took him to the hospital. The hospitals, they did an ultrasound scan, and they noticed that there is the section where the obstruction of the intestine was already dead. So the major thing was just to go to the hospital and to
remove
keep the
it.
private hospital. They removed the dead part of the intestine and they joined
So the
remaining.
other one together.
And the man is still living now. This surgery was done like 5 years ago. So we have good doctors that can treat obstructions of the intestine and everything. But what I'm very sure is that the doctor they took him to at the private hospital is not experienced.
And did a messed up job.
So do you think the move by the government to get this hospital, to bring them to book, to sue them and all of that, do you think that is the way to go? To make sure that, this kind of issues don't come up again, and other quacks out there, hospitals that are not well certified to carry out this kind of surgeries, they ensure that this kind of stuff do not happen
I'm
again?
actually surprised that it was on Tuesday that the House of Assembly was saying they should arrest the doctor. She was like arrested
A long time ago.
Okay.
The doctor might have even run away. So the mother went to complain, brought the complaint to the media. Immediate action. Go to the hospital, lock the hospital up, bring the doctors for questioning. Even the doctor that did the surgery in last week. The problem is this now. If there is a proper pre and post surgery examination, they will be able to know where the problem is.
Okay.
Before the surgery in the private hospital, there's a pre-ultrasound scan or pre-X-ray to see the intestine. Oh, the intestine is intact. We did the surgery. Where is the post-ultrasound scan? Oh, it's still intact. So that they can be able to trace where the intestine gone missing.
Okay, that's the process of things. You do a pre, and then after you do post to make sure that things are still intact.
But I'm sure there was no post or there was no pre. They just went there, open up, and I'm sure they just open and answer. There's no intestine in that county for the mother. There's no intestine. Who will believe that kind of story? So it's just a negligence. I saw the incompetencies of the doctor, of the medical practitioner, and the negligence. That's what's causing this problem.
All right, Victor, now, in your own view, what do you think should be done differently? What do you think should be done now to bring this this doctor to book? And I think the hospital name is Obi-Talks Hospital.
Yeah, Obi Talks Hospital. Yeah, the first thing is I totally agree with what the doctors in the studio said. I think doctor ought to have been brought to books long before now. I mean, the Lagos State and House of Assembly trying to recommending or even asking for his arrest. I think it's just a media stunt. It's just one of those things we do just to show that they are working. But for me, if the system is working, we ought not to even go through, even if we have to go through the state House of Assembly, it just to be like see how we can revamp and try to see how we can brush up our medical our system, or for the state to see how they can render a top-notch service when it comes to our medical services. However, I think the doctor need to be arrested. I mean, as a matter of yesterday, And you know, and this talks about the negligence and the way we attend to life in this country. I mean, how would you explain that you brought your son, you took your son to another hospital, and upon operation they found that the intestine is not there? It's really sickening, to be honest. It's scary, you know. And like what the doctor said, that the doctor is inexperienced, and we have a lot of them, you know, scattered around, you know, the country, who just, I mean, they work in government hospitals, and because the experienced one, don't want to stay in the country to work, because of course they'll not be well paid. So the inexperienced one are just learning on the job. And I heard of a case of one operation that took place, and they forgot a scissors in the patient's stomach. You know, the patient was just feeling very funny. Upon when he was feeling very funny, they took him to the hospital. They found the scissors in the stomach. You know, from an operation done in the previous hospital, and nothing is done because, of course, that didn't make it to the media. So we have such cases. To me, it's not new. I'll tell you that because I've heard some cases that I'll just shed tears and I'll just shake my head, like, you know, if you're sick in this country, if you don't have the money to fly abroad, I mean, unto God your life is. So I think what needs to be done differently is our medical system needs to be revamped, and our medical system needs to, our medical practitioners, I think the body needs to wake up to its duty, even though we know that the system is not favorable as it were. We should think, because I believe that when they take an oath to office, life comes first. But of course, it's a pity that the economy is biting hard and money comes first. But please, they need to really work on human life matters. No matter how many, the boy, who knows what's going to become tomorrow? The boy's life has been cut short out of some negligence by some doctors and nurses and all. This should not be heard of. This shouldn't happen. And I think we should try as much as we can as a country and as a people, especially the medical practitioner, to see that we live up to our name. We're doing well internationally.
Okay, now let me ask you, what is the role of government in all of this now? In all of this, what's the role of government?
The role of government basically is to provide welfare, for its citizens, regardless of which industry you find yourself. And we find that not playing out in Nigeria. So the role of government, all of this, prior to this, is it just goes to show the quack we're having in the system. It goes to show what the system is producing, and this is as a result of bad leadership. Yeah, it's fall back to bad leadership, because if not, bad leadership in all fairs. I'm not talking about just government. I believe the doctors have they have the body. They have an association, that examine all this, that examines the practitioners to know if they're up to the task. And of course, and this also goes that the role of government needs to checkmate. Need to continue to checkmate these bodies, and go to our hospitals, do a proper assessment on what kind of doctors are we having, the nurses are we having. It's not enough to just, okay, we need nurses, we need doctors. Are they fit to take up these challenges? Are they fit to take care of people? These are lives you're entrusting into their hands. So it's not just something you just put people there and you tell them, learn on the job. I've heard that many times, that don't worry, they learn on the job. I know you learn on the job, that's not a bad thing. But we have experts, and experts should be made to handle this. And government needs to pay them. These guys are not wealthy, trust me, their welfare is really, really poor.
Really bad.
Compared to their contemporary outside the country, they're very bad. So I think government need to wake up to that and make sure that, when you pay people well, they will deliver. It's a common sense. You pay them well, they will deliver. And if you don't, reverse is the case.
All right then. Thank you very much, Victor.
Thank you very much, Victor. Back to you, Doctor. Now, from the professional perspective, how can this, they say prevention is better than cure. So now, how does one prevent, just like we've been talking about negligence on the side of the doctors, and of course, there were quacks, so to speak. Now, how does one know a quack from a professional doctor? What is that thing that makes them different, that people would know, so that the populace can know that, okay, yes, this is what to look out for when going to the doctor. If he doesn't have these qualities, I know he is a quack. So what are those things that people should be aware? What is that awareness we should have as people to prevent us from going to quacks for medical?
Thank you. The thing is this. You might not even know a quack until you ask for a certificate. and sometimes their certificate might not even be there at that moment. But one thing is this: in medicine, if a doctor comes to you and tells you this is what is wrong with you, you have the right to go and get a second opinion from another doctor. If there is a disparity in what the doctors are saying, then you should know that, okay, be careful and try and go again for another opinion again.
Okay.
So don't believe what your doctor says. You are suffering from this. Okay, fine.
Get a second opinion.
Get a second opinion.
Okay.
If you get a second opinion and if the second doctor says this is the same thing, confirms what the doctor is saying, fine, cool. Now, everything your doctor is doing to you, ask questions. People don't. The doctor will give you injection and I will ask some patient, what injection did they give you? I don't know. Why? If your doctors give you, you have the right to ask questions for anything you are being done for. If they are doing anything, ask questions. How is it going to be done? Make research. What is internet is there? Make research. Okay, this thing this doctor wants to do to me. What are the complications? What are the things? So ask questions from each doctor. That is where you'll be able to know that, okay, because your life is very, very important to yourself.
All right, let me ask you this one now. We've had cases of doctors forgetting things in people's bodies after operating on them. I lost a friend that way. A towel was, they forgot a towel in her tummy after taking out the fibroid. Now, how many people should be involved and what are their duties in operating someone now? Yeah.
The case of forgetting the device in the human body is still a personal thing to the doctor. It's not a medical, it's not a professional thing.
Yeah, but are there not people there that you hand me this, you hand me that, I finish up with this, I give it back to...
That's it. It's meant to be, at least in a theater, the consultant that is doing the surgery, the main consultant that is doing the surgery, as an assistant.
Okay.
There still might be a fellow consultant or a senior consultant, a senior registrar, like a senior doctor, very close to being a consultant, both of them assisting. Now, there's an anesthesiology, the person in charge of anesthesia there, the nurses are there. So at least in a surgery room.
What is the job of the person in charge of anesthesia?
Anesthesia is just the anesthesia is just to control the level of pain or try to make sure that the patient is being numb. There may be a general anesthesia where the patient goes sleep off until after the surgery is being on.
So there's a possibility that the anesthesia applied might be too much.
Yeah. We've got this issue where anesthesia is too much. Now surgeries nowadays they don't do general anesthesia again. They just do local anesthesia where they just numb the pathway they want to surgery. So that the patient is still semi-consciously awake and they can talk to the patient and everything. That's
what's the danger when anesthesia is too much?
The patient might not be able to wake up
from it.
From
the patient might die.
We've had cases where the surgery was done well, but the patient coming out of anesthesia was the problem. So so now people don't really go for general anesthesia again. That aside, in a surgical room, at least we should have like 5 to 6 people, depending on the complications, the length of the surgery. Maybe just 1 hour surgery, but the doctor must be there. Must have an assistant. Now, most of the time when these people forget, maybe it's only one person that is doing it. One person is doing this one person is doing that. You will forget. So there should be a check and balance even before.
Well, how do you forget? Are you putting the things when you cut? Do you leave it there? Are you supposed to leave it there?
That towel is that it's not even a towel, it's a swab. They're trying to clean up the blood. And just know when you're doing their cutting, they're trying to mop up the blood and everything. So probably just forgot, and probably the swab was the blood has covered it. So you didn't know. But if there's a case of check and balance, they'll be able to know is this thing there, or the nurse will have seen you didn't remove that swab there, or they remove it. So it's a personal. Some people personally forget things. If you're a forgetful person and you're a surgeon, you forget things in it.
that's a risky one to have.
Also, if you are forgetful, just make sure that someone is beside you trying to remind you you've not removed this one. Some people will just place this phone here and they forget that the phone is there. You go and my phone. So that kind of person being a surgeon, we forget things in the stomach of the patient. But it's a very bad thing.
It is a very bad thing.
We need to do more as medical practitioners, and the government needs to do more too.
All right, so in doing more now, let's get your final thoughts, Victor Atewe. let's get your final thoughts, and we'll also keep you for the next topic. But let's get your final thoughts on this one, Victor.
Oh, okay. Okay. Trust me, it's laughable, but of course, I quite understand what the doctor is saying there. That sometimes you find out that is the old. I mean, the doctor is the one running the whole thing, and but that shouldn't be the case. So I think the general public. We live in a. I mean, we are people that we hardly go to do the regular checkups until the thing deteriorates before we start going to doctors, and of course we end up with a quack doctor. Even though you go to the government hospital, you find out the specialist is not around because he or she has a private hospital they're servicing. I wouldn't blame them. Of course, they have to, like the local parlors, they have to hustle, to meet up to their needs and all. So I think the government, this shouldn't happen. Should not have happened if the right thing is done. And I think this shouldn't be the case when it comes to our medical system. Every organization that ought to see to the right, to development of our medical system needs to wake up to their duties, and our doctors should please and please and please try as much as you can put human life first. There are a lot of cases of people who we have them, they go to hospital, sound and healthy, all because of just one mistake. The person, this is one life. You can't, there's no spare. So please, that needs to be done. And the government needs to also look after their welfare, and of course do proper examination about their mental state, their mental health, because it's not easy, seeing blood every day and treating people, meeting people every day, different patient, different problems. They need to make sure cater for their well-being because they are humans too. And of course, they need to be checked mentally to make sure that they live up to their duty. So that's my final take on this. But it's really sad. May the soul of Adebola, Bright, rest in
yeah.
peace. Yes.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you
Victor.
very much. And
May his soul
we'll be
rest in
having your
peace.
final thoughts, Doctor. But what can we do to prevent this issue of small intestine problem? Is it a thing of, early detection? Can that, prevent it from becoming a full-blown issue that can lead to death?
It's more of the appendix issue.
Yeah.
No. The one thing about it is that appendix, most people come out with it. Pains, symptoms of appendix. Let's go in. There's a symptom of appendix, and sometimes you have pain, severe pain at the right side of your stomach, and the pain is actually disturbing. Excruciating pain. When they wouldn't know until they do an ultrasound scan. They now discover, okay, it might be an infection that's affecting this appendix. So the first line of treatment might be antibiotics. Give you antibiotics. The doctor gives you, depending on the kind of infection that's affecting it, give you antibiotics to try to treat it. But in the long run, these antibiotics, this intestine might rupture. When it's ruptured, the best thing is to do is just go there and remove it. Going to a proper hospital, a medical practitioner that is experienced, that has been doing it and is specialized in that field. Not all doctors can do appendix surgery. So they should just, because there's an hospital, there's a doctor, they just go there. So the problem again is that the government should try as much as possible to work on our health insurance. But most of these medical conditions, treatment of these medical conditions are expensive. If the health insurance is actually is covering a lot of medical treatments, they'll be able to cover some of this high cost of living treatments.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Dr. Olawale Olatubi. Now, up next on VOP this morning, a journalist in Zamfara who went missing for 3 days has been found dead. His body was found in a sockaway behind his house. His name, Hamisu Danjiga. He worked as a reporter with The Voice of Nigeria, that's VON, before his demise. We'll talk about this when we come back.
When your morning starts, make